I don't know if I need to pick this up or not. Good morning. Oh, good. That worked. Okay. Good morning and welcome to All People's Church, Unitarian Universalists, and congratulations on remembering daylight savings time. My name is Marianne Clark, and Michael Zepeda and I will be your co-celebrants this morning. In the pulpit is Rosalind Hunter. As Unitarian Universalists, we are part of a long tradition of religious freedom, theological inclusiveness, and community acceptance, and we cherish our diversities of race, age, ability, politics, theology, sexual orientation, culture, and ethnicity. We are bound together not by any creed, but the promises that we affirm together. And all those who find themselves in harmony with those promises are welcome in this house. If you're a visitor today and you haven't signed in, please do. There is a visitor's table by the front door. Signing in will give us the opportunity to acknowledge your visit and place you on our mailing list to receive weekly emails and our monthly newsletter. Before we continue with our service, we have a few announcements. And the first one is Joe.
Good morning, everyone. This is the second Sunday of the month, and I'm here to address our wonderful support for Don't Forget to Feed Me. Because of your generosity last month, we collected $160. So give yourselves a little applause. Yes, thank you. Now, you'll notice I'm wearing the Hungry Hound Hustle t-shirt. There's the back. This is the 5K walk and run that Don't Forget to Feed Me has every year. Now, the donations that you make to Don't Forget to Feed Me this month are going to go so that we have a booth and get our name on the back of the t-shirt like we did last time. So, we also would like to have anybody who is able to sign up and do the 5K walk. There is a beautiful sign that Paul Chapman made. It's going to be out in the foyer. Just scan that little barcode and you can sign up. And we need all the support we can get. Lori and Michael Zepeda and our administrator, Carl, are all going to man the booth, but we need walkers. So anybody who can help us would be greatly appreciated. And as always, we always thank you so much for you guys' support so that people don't have to give up their beloved pets. And so that people who are shut-ins and on Meals on Wheels can keep their little four-legged friends and not have to share their lunch. So thank you all very, very much. And thank you, Marianne.
Always our pleasure, Joe. And please now settle comfortably for our musical prelude.
Good morning. So welcome everyone to All People's Church. I'm Rosalind Hunter. I'm the president of the board at All People's, and I'd like to thank each of you for being here so early on this daylight savings day. So today, let's start by inviting you to rise in body or spirit for the chalice lighting and the opening hymn and the spoken affirmation.
Our chalice lighting words this morning are from Christine Robinson. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. Please now join in singing our hymn of the month for March. Number 131, Love Will Guide Us. The words for our affirmation are found in the order of service and also on the screen. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus we covenant with one another. Please be seated. The young and the young at heart are now invited to come forward for our time for all ages here at the front of the chancel. And here they come.
Come down. Where's your brought some pillows? Come on. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. So today, not today, but this month is 5 years since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. So you know what a pandemic is? A pandemic is a disease that spreads everywhere. That's why the pan means everywhere. So what happened 5 years ago is this new disease came out, COVID-19, and it spread and 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 spread all over the world, and so they declared a pandemic. And they even had a lockdown. You ever heard of lockdown? That's when everybody has to stay home and they can't go out. And they had this happen for months. So when the lockdown first, Oh, was she? Anyway, one of the things that they had was when it first came out, some people wrote a little book about it. So this is one from 5 years ago that someone wrote about that. So I'm going to read that to you today. It's called Berry Bunny Learns About COVID-19. All right. We all feel scared when there's something going on that we don't understand. And they're all watching TV. And it says, coronavirus. And then it says, but by learning, like Berry Bunny, we can understand what's going on and be less scared. So he's on the internet looking it up. See? As the body works hard to get rid of the virus, bunnies can develop a cough, a fever, and a sore throat. The virus can also attack the lungs and make it hard to breathe. Oh no. Bunny Berry didn't feel sick, and so he wondered why it was so important that he had to stay at home. Berry Bunny learned that although many bunnies can get the virus without feeling sick, some bunnies get very sick. And by staying home, Berry Bunny could help stop the virus from spreading and making other bunnies sick. Berry Bunny loves being helpful and wanted to learn how else to help other bunnies. And one way to help is by staying 6 feet away from other bunnies. So when they had the pandemic, if you did go outside, you weren't supposed to touch anyone. You were supposed to stay 6 feet away. So you had to stretch your arms out like that and stand so your fingertips didn't touch. Okay, let's try that. Everybody stand up. Okay, and put your fingertips out. Oh, you're too close. Get out, 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 out. No, keep going. It's too close, it's close. Oh, go. No, you're too close. No, further. Okay. All right. So everywhere you go, you were like this. And so you would see people, but you couldn't hug them. You couldn't touch them. And that's what it was all like. So sometimes we have challenging times and we have to do different rules, but these things don't last forever. All right. So thanks, everybody. Let's sing the kids out. Number 414.
Our offertory words this morning start with a quotation from Parker Palmer. If we are willing to embrace the challenge of becoming whole, we cannot embrace it alone, at least not for long. We need trustworthy relationships to sustain us, tenacious communities of support to sustain a journey toward an undivided life. This congregation is one of those communities of support. No matter its size, every congregation depends on its members. Each one of you, by your commitment of time, energy, and resources, helps make real the grand vision of Unitarian Universalism, a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. It is our custom to share the undesignated cash offerings that are collected each week. We do this on a quarterly basis for a nonprofit or charitable organization. Our Share the Plate recipient for the first quarter of 2025 is Tarrant County Reading Partners. If you prefer, donations can be made using the QR code that is on the back of the order of service. The gifts of the congregation will now be most gratefully received. Will the ushers please come forward?
and that was written by Reverend Kate Landis, who created this powerful ritual for the first anniversary of COVID. We've added some of the stories from our own congregation in memorial of the 5th anniversary of the COVID-19 pandemic. So please join us in remembering and acknowledging an event that had a great impact on all of our lives. So we have me, Michael Zepeda, and Marianne Clark, and we're going to read through this.
On New Year's Eve, we celebrated with fireworks, food, and friends. It was the start of a new year, a better year, we hoped, an election year. The president was impeached, the government was shut down. We tried to read the Mueller report. Unimaginably strong hurricanes devastated already impoverished places. On New Year's Eve 2019, a few people in Wuhan, China were ill with a SARS-like virus. A few days later, the virus made international news, but it seemed confined to a small region far, far away. And word was that it was transmitted from bats to humans, not person to person. By the end of January, the coronavirus was in Washington State, as well as Thailand, Japan, South Korea. Then 19 countries had cases. The Center for Disease Control was deployed, 17 people were dead in China, and human-to-human transmission was confirmed. We learned that we could spread the mysterious disease without having symptoms.
January in our lives. I'm an ER nurse living in a basement of my house, isolated from my partner and my children. Out of fear, I will bring this mysterious virus home. And my kids keep knocking on the basement door and crying because they don't understand why I don't come out and comfort them.
February 2020, in our world. Dr. Li Wenliang, the first doctor in China to raise concerns about the virus and be censored by the government, dies of COVID. On Valentine's Day, Egypt announces an outbreak, signaling that COVID had reached the briefly spared continent of Africa. Italy becomes the most impacted area outside of China, and the US stock market crashes. Then the virus was reported in Brazil, the first case in South America. On February 29th, the first US citizen dies, a man in his 50s in the Seattle area.
February in our lives. I'm afraid and exhausted from the constant fear. I don't know who to trust for information about this virus. If I stay home from work, will I not be able to pay my rent? I'll be evicted. How can I isolate? I'm coughing a lot. I'm so tired, but I'm undocumented. Is it safe for me to get medical care?
Please join us now in singing hymn number 1002 in the Teal hymnal, Comfort Me. Let me see where it is.
now for the community of names and milestones. This time in our service, we pause to honor and give time and attention to those things most important to us. We gather here for healing and peace in our hearts and to honor our time together with the shared stories and news from the congregation. Each week, there's a journal outside in the entrance to the sanctuary where you can write a message of memory and hope before the service. We honor these messages by lighting 3 candles right here next to our chalice. Also, at any time during the service, if you are welcome to come forward and light a candle in our meditation area here on the side of the chancel. In our book of memory and hope this morning, we have one comment. We need this national nightmare to die over with yesterday, if not sooner. In the years that we've lived since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, there have been many people that we've lost. There have also been a lot of insights and joys that we've gained. We pause at this moment to hold and to honor the sorrows and the celebrations among us, including those deeply felt here, but unspoken. Let us pause for a moment of silent meditation and music.
COVID. Personal protective equipment is in short supply at medical facilities, and caregivers are forced to reuse masks. With equipment like respirators in short supply, doctors and nurses are forced to create protocols for rationing care. Who will get life-saving treatment? At the end of March, the federal government releases the CARES Act, providing economic relief to individuals and expansions in unemployment benefits. U.S. cases surpass 100,000, and our country becomes the global COVID epicenter. 10 million people lose their jobs in March.
March in our lives. A neighbor who works in a big grocery chain posts a request on nextdoor.com for low-cost masks. She and her coworkers are suddenly essential workers, but they still make minimum wage. Her message goes viral, causing thousands of masks to be donated to workers across the country. For 2 weeks, the grocery store gives a $2 an hour hazard pay bonus, but it ends long before the virus. My grandmother died, but we couldn't have a funeral. Alone, I sorted through all of her lifetime of belongings, weeping. Schools have moved to online learning, but we only have one computer. I can't figure out the programs that my kids are supposed to use. They miss their friends, and they're mad, and they're scared all of the time.
March in our congregation. After the pandemic is declared, the board decides to close the church before the Sunday, March 15th service.
April 2020 in our world. A Gallup poll found that 1 in 7 Americans would not seek medical care for COVID symptoms because of the cost of medical treatment. 5.4 million people lost their health insurance between February and May of 2020 due to job loss. 20,000 people have died in the United States, and the CDC recommends everyone wear a mask in public. Demonstrators protesting state shutdowns in Ohio, Michigan, and Minnesota were praised by President Trump via Twitter. Prom was canceled for millions of teenagers.
April in our lives. A valued teacher died a preventable death after avoiding the emergency room because of COVID. Non-emergency surgeries are canceled, so my child is in pain and we'll have to wait months for relief.
April in our congregation. Several attempts are made to stream services, but technical issues make it impossible. There are no services in our church for the month of April.
May of 2020 in our world. The CDC reports cases of multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children with COVID, dashing hopes that the virus would not greatly impact the young. The United States death toll passes 100,000. Universities debate canceling in-person classes for the fall.
May in our lives. I comforted a doctor who was crying hysterically after the death of a COVID patient. She was young, and she didn't speak any English, and she died without any family or friends by their side. We can't do anything. We're helpless, he cried.
May in our congregation. Using a Disney microphone and a new order of service planned by Annie Furster, we began regularly to project our Sunday services. We filmed them on Saturday and distributed them through Facebook on Sunday morning.
June 2020 in our world. 200,000 people in the United States have COVID. 10 million in the world have been infected. 500,000 have died. Denial and misinformation run rampant. Depression soars in children and youth.
June in our lives. In a convenience store, I was openly mocked for wearing a mask. Families are divided by widely believed claims that the virus is a hoax or no worse than the flu. My brother's wedding was canceled as we planned to surprise, and the plans we had to surprise our parents with a 50th anniversary party. Our summer vacation was canceled. Our summer camp was canceled. For years, I looked forward to my child graduating, but the ceremony was replaced with a drive-through parade of cars. Total chaos. Well, at least he got a final glimpse at his teachers and his coach.
June, in our congregation, Guy, Patrick, and others build and install the tech desk, wire the sanctuary, and install cameras with financial help from the congregation.
July 2020 in our world. The states with the biggest spikes in cases are the same as the states with the lowest number of insured.
July in our lives. My family's business, a popular local restaurant, closed for good. A family member struggling with a lifelong mental illness went off his medications because he lost his insurance. After acting erratically at a grocery store, he was arrested and jailed. I haven't seen my grandchildren in 5 months, except over the computer. They're too little to even remember me now.
July, in our congregation, many members go to the Fort Worth courthouse to participate in the Women's March.
August 2020 in our world. Half of the hospitals in low-income areas are out of ICU beds, compared to just 3% of hospitals in wealthy areas.
August in our lives. My dad tested positive. He couldn't breathe and he had a high fever, but he was sent home because the hospital was full. I'm so tired of saying no to my children. No playing with your friends, no camp, no birthday party, no swimming pool. I'm the big meanie, the wicked witch, the bringer of disappointment.
August, in our congregation, an hour before service, some members join each other on Zoom for a coffee hour discussion, keeping a sense of community even though we were separated from each other.
September of 2020 in our world. Labor Day festivities and the start of school leads to a surge. Global COVID deaths pass 1 million, more than 40% of which are in the United States, Brazil, and India. Parents and guardians try to figure out how to supervise online school while earning a living and keeping everyone healthy.
September in our lives. I couldn't be with my wife as she gave birth. She was alone except for the kind eyes of nurses who were otherwise fully shrouded in medical protection. Our baby's healthy and she's beautiful, but she hasn't met any of our family or friends. Her grandparents have not held her. To them, she's only real on a computer screen. My first grader is struggling with school online, and it's impossible for her to sit still so long. And she cries because she misses her friends. I attended my first funeral on Zoom. We felt devastated by my grief and my fear and my loneliness.
When COVID's gone, we'll meet again. I'll come to church and hold your hand. We'll sing together and cry and pray. I'll hold you tight on that great day. Last night I dreamed everyone was there, both dead and living were everywhere. We came together like we used to do, and when I woke, I thought of you. COVID's gone, COVID's gone, we'll meet again. I'll come to church and hold your hand, sing together and pray on that great day.
October 2020 in our world. The United States President and the First Lady have tested positive. There are 220,000 deaths in the United States and 1.1 million worldwide. The U.S. has the most deaths in the world. Researchers find that Black and Hispanic Latinx people are disproportionately represented in COVID deaths, with 24% of U.S. deaths being Latinx or Hispanic people and 18% being Black people. This scourge of racism decimates the young and the old.
October in our lives. Halloween festivities were canceled. Children didn't go door to door to be oohed and awed over. I can't visit my husband in his skilled care facility, and over the phone I hear his memory is declining. He's so sad and alone. I'm sad and alone.
November 2020 in our world. 100,000 cases are announced in a single day in the United States. Fatalities are rampant on Native American reservations where health care has been underfunded by the federal government for generations. Navajo families describe losing both parents and grandparents in a few weeks.
November in our lives. I have a job that requires face-to-face interaction. I'm laid off and I'm unemployed. My unemployment has run out. I was saving to buy a home, but now my money is spent on rent. I'm moving back into my parents' home in middle age. We had Thanksgiving with just the people that we live with. Cold weather ended any hopes of any safer outdoor gathering with friends. I'm single. I haven't seen my family in 9 months. I haven't seen anyone in person in 6 months. No hugs, no hand-holding, just me. I couldn't visit my mom when she was diagnosed with cancer, or during her chemo treatment when she felt awful and she needed hugs and distraction.
December 2020 in our world. In LA County, 2 people are dying every hour of COVID. Christmas festivities are canceled. 2 types of vaccinations are improved in the U.S., and distribution begins with healthcare workers and then residents in assisted living facilities, the majority of whom are white. While 1 in 5 people who are incarcerated have COVID, and they are the most likely to die from the virus, they are not prioritized in the initial distribution in 44 states. The majority of people who are incarcerated are Black or people of color.
December in our lives. The 6th grade holiday play, so anticipated by my child, was canceled. I celebrated my first Hanukkah since my wife's death in sad solitude. I'm trying to celebrate. There's a vaccine, but I still feel afraid and so sad. After the past 12 months of death and anxiety, I can't seem to remember how to relax or to celebrate. I'm grateful for holiday traditions to ground me. A decorated tree, I sing some carols, but despite everything, I'm feeling the tiniest sliver of hope.
December in our congregation. Despite being unable to meet for choir practice, some members of the choir make a video of music to play for the New Year's service.
Pray for your
"2020 was a year of challenges and accomplishments. It was not until September 12th, 2021, that our church finally reopened and we were able to meet each other in person again. Now let's us rise and sing our closing hymn, number 146, Soon This Day Will Arrive. So many sorrows we've had witnessed, so many losses and our opportunities gone. But in challenge, there is beauty too, beauty that we may miss if we do not listen quietly with our hearts. Be comforted, for although we've passed through the darkness, a new light is dawned. And we can only truly understand the joy of this moment if we reflect on the darkness that came before it. Amen. The service is ended. We invite you all to join us at this time for coffee and